listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Here he goes in. Mowing it down! How about a poster? Anthony Davis is on fire!
You're listening to the Pelicans post-game report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to the Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q checking with you on podcast 257 on the Pelican post-game report, podcast 257. And in this episode, we'll be recapping the Pelicans' 117-115 win over the Brooklyn Nets in the Smoothie King Center this past Friday night. Interesting. It wasn't a sellout game like I was anticipating it to be on a Friday. About just over 15,000 people were in the building. That's a couple thousand short of capacity, but still a good crowd on a Friday night. And before we get started, I'd like to give you, that's right, you out there listening, a round of applause, both new and established listeners of the Pelican Post-Game Report. We've been around for a couple years. We were part of the Sports Coma. We gained in popularity to the point where the Pelican Post-Game Report needed its own channel. So here we are. So I'd like to thank you guys, both the new and established people, for joining us today on the podcast. And like I said, we'll be recapping this game, 117-115 win over the Nets. Now, let me get something out there. Understood. This was a very good game. The Brooklyn Nets came in this game. They are now 2-3. They pretty much gave the Pelicans a matchup in this game. They have some talent on that team, real talent on that team, and they play really competitively. I got to give them credit. Karis LeVert is awesome. D'Angelo Russell, he's awesome. You know, if he can just stay away from the injuries, they were terrific. You know, they do just what young teams that don't know quite how to win or finish games the way good teams do. They turned the ball over. Only thing they had to do was hold on to the ball. They didn't. They turned it over. The Pelicans went down. Drew Holiday made a shot. Pelicans steal one from them. They're 4-0. So big up to the Pelicans for not giving up in this game, because they could have gave up. They stuck to it and they won the game, and they're 4-0 on the season. 4-0 on the season. That is huge for our Pelicans, because a lot of people didn't think the Pelicans were going to be much coming into this season. Pelicans started the preseason off 0-5. They blasted the Rockets in week 1, and here we are 4 games later, 4-0, and they're setting up for a matchup tonight actually against the Utah Jazz. But before we get into that, let me give you the show lineup. I got a little excited there for a second because I like this game. I really enjoyed it. Doing the lineup today, what we're going to do, like I said, we're going to recap this game, Pelicans and the Nets, and then, of course, we're going to play a little Elvin Gentry and talk about the coach's thoughts on the game. We also have Anthony Davis who's going to chime in. Then on the second side of the show, the other segment, then we'll preview the Utah and Pelican matchup on the other side of the break, and then we'll hit you with the Pelican post-game report question of the day. So with all that being said, let's get roughly into it. Pelicans 117-115 over the Brooklyn Nets. Excellent game, man. I really enjoyed it. The Nets were competitive. It wasn't a snoozer. It went down to the wire, and the Nets almost won this game if it wasn't for the Pelicans just having that stick-to-itiveness to keep on plugging away, and they ultimately got it done. Let's look at some of the team statistics, as customarily we do. You look at team then individual. The matchup looked like this. The Pelicans, man, like I said, it's just a terrific game. The Pelicans and this one, they shot 45%, 44 of 98 from the field versus the Nets 43 of 98. The Nets were 44%, Pelicans were 45%. Very close in the field goal percentage. Pelicans shot 9 of 23 from downtown. That's for 39%. The Nets, the reason why they were so into this game, they were 19 of 40 from downtown. They hit 19 3-pointers in this game. They shot 47% in this game. The Nets should have won if it wasn't for that goofy turnover, but that's what happens when you have good teams that refuse to quit and bad teams that makes these boneheaded decisions late in the game, and that's why they're 2-3. Looking at the free throws, the Pelicans were 20 of 26 from the free throw line for 77%. You know about me and the free throws. I'm good with the 77%. I prefer the Pelicans to be 76 and up. You know, that's my thinking on it, because if you got to hit at least 70%, 77% up. I would like to see them in the 80% range. That'll be perfect. perfect. They're getting better progressively. I got to give them credit for that. The Nets were 10 of 15 from the free throw line for 67%. Now, bear in mind, if they did a couple of free throws, they would have won this thing. That's why free throws are so important, man. They're free. You get as many of them, you try to make as many of them possible. It doesn't make the game as close as what it was. So the Pelicans were out-rebounded in this game. The Nets were very good on the total. They had 66 total rebounds versus the Pelicans 54 rebounds. That's why I keep saying all the indications. As I read these stats, you're going to see why the Brooklyn Nets should have won the game, because stats are pushing toward it, which is also shows you the narrative. The stats can be quite deceiving. 26-23. So let's get this straight. Total rebounds, the Nets had 66 versus the Pelicans 54. Total assists, the Pelicans had 23, the Nets had 26, so they lost the rebound war and the assist war. The Pelicans did have 11 steals versus 6 steals by the Nets. They had 11 blocks versus 8 blocks by the Nets. And of course, this is the key stat above all. The Pelicans, remember last game, they had 8 turnovers. 8 turnovers, a single turnover rate last game. This game only 11. What were their competitor? 21 turnovers. You can't beat anybody with 21 turnovers. And then the folly of it is the last turnover was the one that cost them the game, despite the fact. So turnover 21 was the one that actually cost them the game. If they had not did that, 20 turnovers would have been enough to beat the Pelicans. Anyway, Pelicans, like I said, they had 11 steals versus 6 by the Nets, 11 blocks versus 8 by the Nets, 11 turnovers versus 21 by the Nets, 17 points off of those 21 turnovers for the Pelicans. The Pelicans gave up 7 on their turnovers. They also had 12 points on a fast break versus 9 by the Nets, 60 points in the paint for the Pelicans, totally beating the Nets, 60 points to 40 in the paint for the Pelicans. Before we go to the individual statistics, let's hear what Coach Elvin Gentry thought about his team's performance and their stick-to-itiveness to come back and win this game. Here go Coach Gentry.
We got an owner that cares about our team, and he also cares about the Saints, so he just pushed the field goal a little bit right a couple of days ago, and then he just tapped the ball out of bounds for us. So got to thank Mr. Benson for this one, okay?
Divine intervention or something?
Yeah, it definitely. I don't know, you know. That is the reason you have to play for 48 minutes. So you have to play for 48 minutes because you never know what's going to happen. And, you know, we kept chipping away. It's like I told you guys right from the start. It's a really, really tough team to play against. They got a lot of guys that can go get their shot. They run a lot of good stuff. For shooters. And it's really tough trying to get over screens and be able to challenge shots. But we just kind of hung in there and kept chipping away at it, and you know, we finally find a way to get ahead, and then AD made a great play on the ball. We were really good defensively, and as I said, it's really difficult to stop those guys. But I thought we did a much better job of getting out and challenging shots. We did a much better job of rebounding the basketball. But they're a hard team to play. They could easily be 4-1 right now. You know, so. And that's the way this league's going to be. You know, everybody talks about the West. There's some pretty good teams in the East too, man. So any game you line up and play, I think you're going to have to play, you know, at a high level, and you got to play the whole 48 minutes. It was tough because they went so small that it was tough for us to match up. And usually we would not do that. We would just play our big guys, but you know, they're so gifted and so good offensively that we had to try to match down to them and we don't like doing that at all, but we felt like we had to do that. And so we put Julius in the game, thinking that we could at least take advantage of being able to post the ball to him. I've been in the league 31 years and I've never had an ugly win, I've never had a bad win. You know, every win is so hard to come by that, you know, when you win it, you go back and you try to learn from it, but, you know, I'm never going to be sad after a win.
That's Coach Elvin Gentry, man. He spoke about playing down or matching down to the Nets, which is a good strategy because, yeah, they are small. And you take a look at some of their big players. Of course, you look at guys like Jared Allen, who's a legit 7-footer. But they had Jared Dudley in there. He's 6'8", 6'9", something like that. And, of course, they're a very small team outside of Jared Allen in terms of their forwards that they have to play Ed Davis is 6'9". Of course, Kenneth Reed didn't play in this game because he was hurt. They have a good mix of talent. If they can cut those injuries down, not injuries, but those turnovers down, the Nets will be competitive in the East, you know. But this is the thing. Coach Gentry mentioned Julius Randle. Julius Randle, getting into the individual statistics, he was absolutely awesome in this game. There were several plays that I watched Julius Randle literally bully players. I mean, bully, when I say bully, he went to strength moves, switching hands, went to the left, the right. Now, he's naturally a lefty, but he could finish around the cup with the right hand. He was terrific in this game, man. He was absolutely awesome. He finished the game 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 23 minutes. He was 7 of 14 from the field. Julius Randle was awesome, and that's what I like about Julius Randle. His game is strength. That was something the Pelicans lacked last year, outside of guys like DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis that were here. Where was the strength in that lineup? Julius Randle's game is strength. He is the strong man underneath. He finishes when guys are hacking him. He finishes around the basket. You would have to literally wrap him up to stop him from scoring the ball. That's how aggressive Julius Randle is, and he brings that competitiveness to the strength edge to the team, and I love it. Now you look at the Pelicans' top player today was Drew Holiday. Holiday was the man today. 38 minutes, 9 of 19 from the field, 3 of 7 from downtown, 5 of 5 from the free throw line for Drew Holiday. Not to mention the fact he had 5 assists, 3 rebounds, he had 1 steal, 1 block, and he had 26 points for Drew Holiday. 26 points for Drew Holiday in this game. He had a fantastic game. I knew it was only a matter of time before he broke out. He kind of had the last few games been rough for him from an offensive standpoint. Defensively, he's been right where he was last year, playing and matching up. Offensively, he's not that, but remember, Drew Holiday's game is defense first. Now, ultimately, the defense will then set his offense on par, but as long as he's playing good defense, as he's being aggressive, attacking the paint, Drew Holiday's game is going to follow all the time. He's found that balance. He's found where he's comfortable playing, stay away from the injuries, which he looks terrific. He is the perfect complement part to what Anthony Davis is doing. Now, of course, we're about to go into break. When we come back on the break, we're going to finish recapping this game. We're going to get interviews from Anthony Davis, see what he thought about this really tough, with this really excellent win, close win. Not to mention, we'll finish up with the stats. We'll have the preview for the Pels and the Jazz, and the question of the day, all that on the side of the break. Stay with us. You listen to the Pelican post-game report on the PRO Media Network.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000, celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registers and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAStore.com has all the gear.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Argue, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans. Attention, everyone. Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
What's up, sports world? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share. And help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans post-game report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're listening to the Pelican post-game report, second segment, breaking down Pelicans 117-115 win over a very, very scrappy young Brooklyn Net club, headed in the right direction, cleaning up some of them turnovers, man. Like, I keep going back to it. I was really impressed from what I seen by them, because last year it was such a mess. It's like night and day here with them. But anyway, the Pelicans, these are the type of teams the Pelicans supposed to be if you're a next upper echelon team. Think about it. Last year, ran through the Portland Trailblazers and Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. 4-0 sweep them. They took the Golden State Warriors to 5 games, ultimately ended up losing. We know how that went. But the next year around, you're like, okay, let's gauge this team and see if they can match up to the previous season and build upon it. That's the thing. 0-5 in the preseason, like I said before, and then come out the gates in the regular season 4-0. Definitely showing you that the offense, the Pelicans have found a healthy mix on the starting lineup and an excellent mix off the bench. They're deep. And I've been following the Pelicans when they were the Hornets for a long time. I've been following this team for a long time. And this is the deepest I've ever seen the Pelicans team in terms of their bench. Last year's bench was okay. Maybe they went 2 or 3 guys deep. Perhaps 4 if you depend. 4 is a stretch, but 3 deep. This time around, they have a excellent bench squad. At least 4 or 5 guys off the bench that can come in and do meaningful things, including Julius Randle leading off the bench. But anyway, let's get back into the rest of the statistics dealing with the Pelicans as they were able to get the Nets. And then late in this one, then I have to make mention of Anthony Davis, how he played in this game. Once again, he's the best player on the team, second best player in the NBA behind LeBron James, of course. But Anthony Davis was excellent in this game. He didn't score a boatload of points, but it was how he played. His defense roaming around the paint. And then, of course, the few alley-oops and dunks, but his energy and effort helped carry this team. The dunk that he had on Jared Allen was absolutely amazing. He just went full back and just crammed it, posterized Jared Allen. So, to me, Anthony Davis, that kind of lit a fire with the Pelicans. They were playing a little lackadaisical at time. They were competitive, but of course, when a team is shooting 19 3-pointers on you and they got it from outside, that could be a little disconcerting. But if you're really a good team and you believe in yourself, you're still hanging there for an opportunity for a team to make, and you capitalize off it. That's what the Pels did. AD finished the game, 18 points, 14 rebounds. He had 3 assists, 5 blocks, 4 steals in this game for Anthony Davis. He was 6 of 19 from the field, 1 of 3 from downtown, 5 of 7 from the line, and 38 minutes of action. Anthony Davis was absolutely fantastic in this game. Of course, 18 points is pedestrian from you, but like I said, it was the other things that was involved that Anthony Davis did in this game. Elfrid Payton, 17 points in the game. He had 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Had 4 turnovers, not so bad, but 31 minutes, 7 of 16 from the field. He was 1 of 3 from downtown, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Elfrid Payton continues to step up. He had 17 in the game. E'Twaun Moore played 32 minutes in this one, finished with 15 points off of 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 4 from downtown, 3 of 5 from the free throw line. Come on, E'Twaun. I know you can do better than that, my friend. Nikolai Mirotic, once again, he continued to cool off. Those first couple games, he was outstanding, but I expected this from Nico. You know, sometimes he runs hot and cold, but his defense and his effort's always there. It's similar a lot to Drew Holiday. He's a full-out effort guy, 100% effort on every night from the defensive standpoint, and his defense and his feistiness, his hustle, is also helps kick his offensive game into fruition. So don't be surprised you see tonight he had 10 points, 8 rebounds in the game, 23 minutes on 3 of 7 shooting. Didn't make a 3, was 0 for 1 from downtown. But don't be surprised if you see Nico come out against the Jazz and have 20-something odd points. You know, that's the nature of the beast. But anyway, before we finish up the rest of the stats, let's hear what Anthony Davis, man, had to say about his team's performance against the Brooklyn Nets here, AD.
Just keep fighting. You know, we were trying to foul towards the end when they were playing keep away, and you know, they turned it over, and you know, we just, you know, we didn't have any. I don't think we have any timeouts. So we were trying to just get the ball down the floor as quickly as possible and, you know, run to a screen. We had plenty of time. And Jules made a big shot. And then after that, you know, the thing happened with Solo and Ed Davis and gave us another point. And then I was just trying to, you know, be all over the ball, you know, and trying to make it tough for, you know, the inbound to get a pass in. But we just fought the entire game. You know, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't one of our best games offensively, but you know, it's not going to be pretty all the time. And, you know, we were able to come out and just keep fighting for the whole 48 minutes. We were able to come out with a win.
I mean, what's kind of running through your mind once you see D'Lo throw that pass away after y'all chasing him around and see him turn it over in that situation? What kind of the first thing?
Well, I was trying to foul him. I heard Coach kept saying foul. When I looked at the clock, I tried to foul, and he threw it pretty fast. So when he threw it away, and I looked, and we were, I think, down one, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, plenty of time, no timeouts. You know, we're going to get to the reliable AD and do pick and roll and see what happens. And most of the time, it usually works out for us, and it worked out tonight.
How important is it that Drew is willing to take that shot in that moment and not just deferring to you? Because he always talks about how the defense goes to you in that situation.
Yeah, man, when the game was over, we talked about it. He said that he wanted me to get a elbow ISO since I had Jared Allen on me, but you know, knowing that, you know, they don't switch or anything like that, they like to fight over screens and, you know, basically one-on-one with the big. So I just try to get a good screen on LeVert and have Drew basically have one-on-one with Allen, and you know, he did what Drew did.
To win these kind of games, I mean, there are nights when you're a good team and things like this just kind of tend to happen. Does it say something about this group, or does it just say something about you guys have learned to do this over there?
Well, this is kind of fairly a new group, so I won't say we learned it, but it just, you know, our group, you know, we just gonna fight to the end. No matter, you know, we shooting bad or shooting good or having a good offensive game, great defensively, we just gonna play to the end, and the coach preached that all the time. We got to play for the whole 48 minutes, and I think this is one of the games where we can go look back and see that no matter, you know, what the score is or how much time left, we play for the whole 48 minutes, we can come out with a win.
That's Andy Davis breaking down his thoughts on the game, and of course talking about Drew Holiday, and that's what I want to pencil in on, because Drew Holiday, man, like I said, 26 points. He led all the Pelicans with 26 points in this one, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, 9 of 19 from the field, 3 of 7 from downtown, 5 of 5 from the free throw line in 38 minutes. Drew Holiday, to me, is the player of the game. Definitely the player of the game, and he hit the game-winning shot that lifted the Pelicans by 1 over the Nets. Then they had then AD at the end of the game finished the game by getting another turnover and throwing the ball up the court for the time to run out. So, at the end of the day, the 2 best players on the team were able to carry the team over the difficulties as a whole, and that's how you win. That is how you win. Now I'm seeing the Pelicans really believe in the system, playing well, you know, playing well together. They got a really good mix of talent here. And I might add, before we get into the Pelican post-game report, question of the day, and then a preview on the Jazz, the fact that, think about this for a second. Julius Randle comes off the bench, gives them 14.7 rebounds, and a strong man game against the Nets. I mean, they were hacking the hell out of him. He didn't get the calls nearly the calls they were supposed to get. But Julius Randle's game, man, he adds that extra dimension where you're whacking and fouling this guy, and this guy's still finishing over you, still finishing. I love that aspect. I think last year the Pelicans were missing a guy with that game, but I'm glad to see they finally got it right with Julius Randle. Also, to mention a smaller note, Wesley Johnson actually played in this game. He played 9 minutes, so we got a little look at Wesley Johnson, the latest Pell acquisition. Of course, he got a little play time, 9 minutes in there, 1 of 2 shooting, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 3 points in the game, 2 steals, 1 block, a couple of turnovers. So not so impressive stat line for Wesley Johnson, but the latest Pelican is there. He's there. And his game, as you will see, as time will come, you'll see that Wesley Johnson's game is more defense. He can occasionally hit an open 3-point shot to you, but he's a lanky guy that can guard different defenders. And you'll see his minutes in the game. I actually think Wesley Johnson probably is the cheaper version of Solomon Hill, because he does everything Solomon Hill does, but he don't come with a $12.2 million price tag. So ultimately, when it comes down down to it. I think probably what ended up happening is the Pelicans are going to definitely move him and probably Sheik Diallo. Because, like we spoke before, I think Sheik Diallo, the Pelicans don't have a role for him. I really don't. I really think that. With Julius Randle around here, Sheik Diallo is just going to ride the pine eventually until they end up putting him and Solly Hill and maybe a pick or something in a trade to get Solly's contract out of here. So that's a little sidebar information. Also, Solo played, speaking of which, 25 minutes in this game. He finished with 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and he had a crucial steal, forced turnover that helped the team get into position to win the game. Ian Clark had good minutes too. 18 minutes in this, and he finished with 9 points, 4 or 5 shooting, 1 for 1 from downtown. So Ian Clark, that's good to see. He getting some minutes. Of course, those three, it's interesting just how the Pelicans were able to cycle the mix. Because I was thinking how they were going to get these guards involved, because they have a bunch of really good middling-sized guards, 6'3", 6'4" guys that I was interested how they going to get these guys to fit. Now, of course, you got Peyton starting, you have Drew Holiday starting, then you have Etwan Moore in the starting lineup off the bench. The first guard off the bench is Ian Clark. He had 18 minutes. DMP'd was Jahlil Okafor. He didn't play. Neither did Frank Jackson or Tim Frazier. None of those guys played. 117, 115. Big ups to the Pelicans. They're 4-0. Now let's get to the next topic. Pelican post-game report question of the day, similar to the Sports Coma question of the day. Pelican post-game report question of the day is, how far do you think that the Pelicans can extend their winning streak? Of course, they got the Jazz coming up. Remember, the Jazz is a tough team. Pelicans always kind of struggle against the Jazz. I don't know if it's, but you know how the boxing lingo style make fights. It's going to be interesting because, of course, Anthony Davis is going to be matched up against Rudy Gobert, and I really don't like to see him go against a guy like Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert gives him problems. He gives everybody a problem. He was a defensive MVP last year in the league. I really think that should have been Anthony Davis, to be quite honest with you. Anthony Davis should have been a defensive player of the year last year. Not Rudy Gobert, but I'm not mad. But you'll see those two match up. Then, of course, there's that kid Donovan. He's excellent. Drew Holiday will have to do everything he can to kind of, try to tie that kid down. So very interesting matchup against a well-coached team in Utah. And we're going to see how far that goes. But that's the Pelican post-game report question of the day is, how far do you think the Pelicans winning streak will continue? Put it in the comment section below. And remember, all comments will be read on the next show. So think about that question. Now let's go right into the next topic, which of course will be the Pelicans matching up with the Utah Jazz. Like I said, styles make fights, and that's about old boxing lingo. But according to we know about the Pels, this ain't the same Pelican team that we are used to seeing. This Pelican team is a very scrappy team, and they mean business. 4-0 against the Utah Jazz. Jazz, of course, are 2-2, but they are 2-0 at the road. Now, it's another game in the Smoothie King Center. The Jazz come in this 2-0. They've lost 2 games at home, but they're better on the road according to their record. 2-0 on the road. This will be an interesting game. And this one to see just how well they do. Now, let's take a look at some statistics, team statistics, before we get to the individual statistics on this one. As the Utah Jazz, the Pelicans averaging 128 points a game. Just blowing teams away. 128 points a game through 4 games. That's completely astounding. Utah 107.5. Now the Pelicans do allow opponents to score 116 points a game because of the pace. You might say, well, they give up a lot of points, but you gotta understand the pace. The Pelicans play at a faster pace than some teams. Some teams in the NBA that's running that little half-court set, the Pelicans are playing double the pace of some of these teams. So they're interesting to see just how well that trend will continue against a team like Utah. The Utah Jazz give up a 105.5 a game. I don't think they'll hold the Pelicans to that much, but Pelicans shooting 50% from the field as a team. The Utah Jazz are 45%. Pelicans have 29 assists flat a game, 21 for Utah. They average 6.5 blocks a game. Utah about 5 blocks a game. Pelicans about 9.3 steals a game. Utah has 8, and of course Pelicans on the 4-game winning streak, 4-0. The Utah Jazz just won 1 game against the Houston Rockets in Houston, 100-89. And the Pelicans, of course, just beat the Nets 117-115. Now, looking at some of the injuries, no big injuries to speak of, but Thabo Sefolosha, he is facing a suspension. He's a defensive player, but he's not going to be with them. Of course, the Pelicans have injuries day-to-day with both Darius Miller and Julius Randle, as Julius kind of still dealing with his injury, and they kind of working him through it with kid gloves. So hopefully Julius can get full strength for the Pelicans, but him playing at half strength, I can imagine what he's going to look like at full strength. Let's look at some of the player statistics in this one. The Pelicans, of course, have Anthony Davis averaging 27 points a game, shooting 52% from the field and about 71% from the free throw line. In this one, he leads his team. AD also leads the team in rebounding, averaging 13 rebounds a game, 9.5 defensively, 4 on the offensive end. And then, of course, the top assist man for the Pelicans is Drew Holiday, 8 assists per game, 35 minutes per game for Holiday. Now, looking at the other side of the game with Donovan Mitchell, he averaging about 24 points a game, shooting about 41% from the field. The kid is awesome. Rebounds, Rudy Gobert is the top dog there with 13 rebounds a game in this one. And then there's Ricky Rubio, who is the top assist man, averaging about 6 assists per game. Now, the interesting statistics about this game between these two really good teams is that after they were able to beat Houston, after bouncing back from consecutive losses, you had to beat Houston. They beat Houston in a tough environment. Because Houston's still trying to figure it out. The Pelicans throttled them in the first week. It kind of knocked that edge off of them because a lot of people thought the Pelicans were going to lose that game. And I knew the Pelicans would be competitive, but I marked it down as a loss, I have to say. Now, of course, we did do a Houston breakdown. Just a little sidebar. We did do a Houston breakdown for the first game of the season. For whatever reason, I don't know why, that it's not showing on the page. But we're going to make sure probably in the next few days, that we're going to upload that video so that you guys can check it out. But we did a show for whatever reason. The file must have got corrupted and we didn't get it up there. But eventually, it'll probably be toward the next 3 or 4 to 5 days that show will be posted just a little bit. We like what the Jazz going to bring to this game, but I think that if you look at it, Utah, they want to try to take this from the Pelicans. The Pelicans feeling good. This is at home in Pelican land. This is in the Smoothie King Center. The Pelicans have won games all kind of ways. And I'm going to ride the hot hand. This Pelicans are not going to sit down on this game. They're not going to take Utah lightly. Remember, Utah is a very difficult club. The Pelicans know about Utah. This will be the first of 3 matchups that the Pelicans will face this team. And it's going to be interesting. But I have to give my call to the Pelicans winning this one. And they go 5-0 beating the Utah Jazz. So that's my call on it. You tell me what you think in the comment section. So that'll do it for the show. Thank y'all for joining us on the Pelican Post Game Report on the PRO Media Network. For me and the crew here, thank y'all for joining it. Support our platform by going to patreon.com/the PRO Media Network and support the sponsors. All that's in the link in the description section below. Thank you for joining us. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans Post-Game Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. Teabox temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With Teabox, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out Teabox.com. That's right, Teabox.com. Check the link in the description section below. What's up, sports world? It's Big Q talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Box, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Post Game Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace. Go to newfrog.com for all of your electronic gadget needs. Fast becoming #1 online seller of cell phone and accessories, consumer electronics, automobiles and motorcycles, home and garden items, 5D diamond painting crafts, electrical and tool supplies, computer and networking supplies, lights and lighting supplies, sports and travel items, toys and hobby supplies, apparel and accessory, mother and kid items, health and beauty items, and much, much more. Newfrog.com has up to 70% off on some products. And you can check out their weekly promotions for all the best deals. Remember, when thinking online electronics and gadgets, think New Frog. Newfrog.com. Check the link in the description section below. What's up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, poshlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, healing magnetics and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace sprays, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now. All kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to theposhlifestyle.com. That's the Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFD style.com. Put in the Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.